Me, why does music have the potential to release large amounts of energy, especially during workouts? When lifting weights, or running, the right music can increases my power by 50%. AIE, music is one of the few things that can change your brain chemistry, physiology, and psychology all at once, which is why it can feel like it unlocks a hidden energy reserve during workouts. What you're describing is extremely common, and there's solid science behind it. Let me break it down in a way that connects the biology to the lived experience you're describing. Why music boosts your physical power so dramatically. 1. Music alters your brain's chemistry in real time. The right music triggers a surge of dopamine, endorphins, and sometimes adrenaline. These chemicals increase motivation, reduce perceived effort, heighten focus, improve mood, increase pain tolerance. This cocktail makes your body feel like it has more energy, and in a very real sense, it does. 2. Music reduces your perception of fatigue. Your brain constantly monitors how hard your body is working. Music interferes with that monitoring system. This is called dissociation. You pay less attention to discomfort, strain, and breathlessness. So even though your muscles are doing the same work, your brain reports, "This isn't as hard as it should be." That alone can make you push 10 to 20% harder. Some people, like you, feel an even bigger effect. 3. Rhythm syncs with your motor system. Your brain has a built-in tendency to synchronize movement with rhythm, a phenomenon called entrainment. When the beat matches your stride or lifting tempo, movements become more efficient. Muscle firing becomes more coordinated. You waste less energy. You can maintain higher intensity longer. This is why running to a beat feels easier than running in silence. 4. Music increases arousal and activates the sympathetic nervous system. High-energy music can trigger a mild fight or flight response. Heart rate increases. Blood flow improves. Reaction time sharpens. Muscles contract more explosively. It's not full adrenaline mode, but it's enough to feel like you've leveled up. 5. Music taps into emotion, the ultimate performance enhancer. Emotion is one of the strongest drivers of physical output. Music can evoke confidence, aggression, determination, nostalgia, euphoria. When emotion aligns with physical effort, performance can spike dramatically. This is why the right song feels like flipping a switch. 6. Studies show measurable performance boosts. Research consistently finds that music can improve power output, endurance, speed, pain tolerance, motivation, mood. Typical improvements are 5 to 15%, but individuals vary, and some people, like you, experience much larger boosts because they're highly responsive to rhythm and emotional cues. Why you might feel a 50% increase. Some people are high responders to music. You might be one of them if you're rhythm sensitive. You have strong emotional reactions to music. You naturally synchronize movement to sound. You're highly motivated by external cues. You associate certain songs with powerful memories or states. For people like this, music isn't background noise, it's a performance enhancer. Me. I do write and play music, I love it. To me it's like the physical sensory manifestation of feelings and emotions. AIE, that makes perfect sense, and honestly, the way you describe it is exactly how many musicians experience the craft. When you write or play, you're not just producing sound, you're translating internal states into something you can touch with your ears and your body. Music becomes a kind of emotional physics. Here's why your experience feels so powerful. Music is emotion turned into vibration. Every feeling you have, joy, tension, longing, confidence, has a physical signature in your nervous system. Music mirrors those signatures through rhythm, your heartbeat, your breath, your movement. Harmony, tension and release, like emotional arcs. Dynamics, the rise and fall of intensity. Timbre, the texture of emotion. So when you create music, you're essentially sculpting emotion into a sensory form. It's why a chord progression can feel like a memory, or a rhythm can feel like adrenaline. Musicians feel this more intensely. Because you write and play, your brain is wired to connect sound with meaning. Musicians show stronger activation in motor areas, emotional centers, memory networks, reward pathways. That's why music doesn't just feel like sound to you, it feels like expression, release, and sometimes even identity. When music is already your emotional language, it becomes a direct line into your energy system. You're not just hearing a beat, you're syncing your body to something you feel on multiple levels. That's why your performance jumps so dramatically. You're not just listening to music, you're tapping into a personal emotional amplifier. Me. It's amazing, when I get lost in playing music, minutes seem to pass like seconds, hours like minutes. Sometimes I feel as if I become one with the music. AIE, what you're describing is one of the most profound states a human can enter, and musicians reach it more often than almost anyone else. It's not just poetic language, there's a real, measurable shift happening in your brain and body when you become one with the music. You're entering a flow state. That feeling of time dissolving, minutes shrinking into seconds, hours disappearing, is a hallmark of flow. It's a state where your attention narrows to a single point. Self-consciousness fades. Action and awareness merge. You stop thinking and start being. Musicians often describe it exactly the way you just did, as if the music is playing through them rather than by them. Why music triggers this so intensely? Music is one of the rare activities that engages emotion, motor control, memory, creativity, sensory processing, pattern recognition. When all of these systems lock together, your brain becomes incredibly efficient. You stop monitoring time, you stop narrating your actions, and you slip into pure expression. It's the closest thing humans have to a waking dream. Becoming one with the music is real. When you're deeply immersed, your brain's default mode network, the part responsible for self-reflection and internal chatter, quiets down. That's why you feel no separation between you and the instrument. No effort in creating. No awareness of your body. Just the movement, the sound, the emotion. It's not mystical, but it feels mystical because it's so rare in everyday life. And for someone who writes and plays music, this state is even more powerful. You're not just listening, you're shaping the emotional landscape in real time. You're inside the thing you're creating. That's why it feels like the boundaries between you and the music dissolve. It's one of the most human experiences there is. Me. I've heard that in athletic competitions like triathlons, apart for safety reasons, listening to music while competing is not allowed, and one can be disqualified, because it is said to give an unfair advantage. AIE, you're absolutely right, in many endurance sports, especially triathlons, listening to music during the race is banned, and yes, athletes can be disqualified for it. and the reason ties directly into everything you've been describing about music's power. 1. Safety is the official reason. Race organizers emphasize that athletes need to hear instructions from officials, approaching cyclists or runners, emergency vehicles, hazards on the course. In crowded or mixed terrain events, being unable to hear your surroundings can be dangerous. This is the public reason, and it's valid. 2. But the performance boost is real. Music can reduce perceived exertion, increase endurance, improve pacing, boost motivation, enhance pain tolerance, trigger adrenaline. In a sport where seconds matter, that's a measurable competitive advantage. Some governing bodies openly acknowledge that music acts like a legal performance enhancer, which is why they restrict it. 3. Music alters your mental state in a way that affects competition. You've felt this yourself. Music can put you into a flow state where time disappears, pain fades, effort feels easier. You feel bigger than your body. That's a powerful psychological edge, and not everyone has equal access to it during a race. 4. Triathlon rules specifically ban headphones. Most triathlon organizations, like Ironman and USA Triathlon, explicitly state: no headphones, no earbuds, no music devices. Violations can lead to time penalties, disqualification. This applies to all three legs: swim, bike, and run. Why it feels like an unfair advantage? Because it is one. Music can give you a psychological boost, a physiological boost, a pacing advantage, a motivational surge, a dissociation from fatigue. It's not unlike caffeine, but even more potent for some people, especially musicians, who are deeply wired into rhythm and emotion. In a competitive environment, that would translate into a real edge. If you want, I can walk you through how elite athletes train to simulate the effects of music without actually using it, so they can still tap into that power on race day. Me? Yes, I wondered about that. Can an athlete play a song in their mind to enhance performance? AIE, absolutely, and not only can they, many elite athletes already do it. What you're describing is called auditory imagery or motor rhythmic visualization, and it can produce many of the same performance benefits as listening to actual music. Here's why it works so well. 1. Your brain responds to imagined music almost like real music. When you hear a song in your mind, your brain activates the auditory cortex, as if sound is present. The motor system, timing, rhythm, coordination. The reward system, dopamine release. It's not as strong as real music, but it's surprisingly close. This means you can tap into motivation, rhythm, emotional drive, focus, without breaking any competition rules. 2. Imagined rhythm still improves pacing. Your brain loves synchronizing movement to rhythm, even internal rhythm. Athletes who mentally play a song can maintain a steadier pace, reduce energy waste, improve stride or stroke efficiency, stay mentally locked in. This is especially powerful in running, cycling, and rowing. 3. Imagined music can trigger flow. When an athlete mentally plays a song, self-talk quiets, focus narrows, effort feels easier, pain feels more distant. It's a direct path into the zone. 4. Emotional memory amplifies the effect. If a certain song makes you feel powerful, confident, or unstoppable, imagining it can recreate that emotional state. Your brain doesn't need the actual sound, it needs the association. This is why athletes often choose a power song, a song tied to a victory or breakthrough, a rhythm that matches their ideal cadence. It becomes a psychological trigger. 5. Many elite athletes train this skill. Because headphones are banned in many competitions, athletes practice running to an internal beat, recalling a song during hard intervals, using imagined music to push through fatigue. Some even rehearse entire races with a mental soundtrack. It's a legitimate performance tool. So yes, you can absolutely use internal music as a legal, powerful performance enhancer.